Hey, thanks, Falana. Uh, Kim and Christy, thanks for your efforts and showing us a little bit about new releases and Nuvei. And folks, thanks for sticking with us here a little bit. In the next session, Jim and I are going to be reviewing Sage Alerts and Workflow. I'm going to be talking just a quick and a brief introduction to Sage Alerts and Workflow, and Jim will actually be doing the hard and the important stuff of showing you all a little bit about Sage Alerts and Workflow. I will let you know, you may hear us during this presentation refer to Sage Alerts and Workflow as Knowledge Sync. This is what the product used to be called, and Sage, in their wisdom, rebranded it. So some of the folks that have been around a long time, Jim's been around a whole lot longer than me, just so you're aware, a whole lot longer. We'll still call it Knowledge Sync, but we'll try to stick with that. Just realize if we do that, it's the same Sage Alerts and Workflow and Knowledge Sync. But as I put this next slide up here and you read that, you might see some of what you struggle with in your business. 'Cause if we look at probably here on the left side, our systems are full of data. Sage 100 captures a lot of information and a lot of data, and a lot of that needs your attention, something that you might need to look at, something you might need to pass off to somebody else, something that you may need to make a decision on. And so, what generally happens with a lot of systems, and maybe it's happening with you, is that you regularly go and you have to go into the system and you're digging through, maybe printing out reports, maybe doing inquiries in the system, maybe dumping information out to Excel that you're then massaging to get the information that you need. And then you need to decide, well, what do I do with this now? Well, maybe I have to send it to somebody else to make a decision on, or send it to somebody else to analyze and get back with me. Or maybe I need to highlight a few areas, right, and just dig into that a little bit deeper. But what most people really want, though, is they want a system that works a little bit more proactively for them, something that will flag information, right? Something that will be proactive and provide you a tool or provide you the information to say, take a look at this or make a decision on this, or even something that will take action for you that requires no effort on your part. So a tool that will do that for us is Sage Alerts and Workflow. Okay, it does analyze and look at real time data. Okay, and I love the term real time actionable data. Actionable data is very important, right? Something that we can look at very quickly and be able to take action on it without having to spend a lot of time digging in. Like to call Sage Alerts and Workflow kind of like that invisible assistant, something that's setting in the background, right? That you don't have to manage, but it's providing you information for some of those business critical issues which you have. I mean, you see a few things we have there: stock shortages, overdue invoices, things like that. And it is though more than just reminders. Although you can do reminders in this, like, hey, do this now based on a trigger. But it will also take action for you. So, for example, if I have a customer, maybe my biggest customer, if it goes 30 days past due, right? I could have a trigger out there that will then send an email to a salesperson or to my collections person, say, hey, reach out to them and and find out what's wrong. Or if I'm monitoring customers and I notice a customer hasn't bought anything from you in 60 days, right? To go out and send an email to a salesperson, say follow up with that customer. It also allows us to kind of automate some of the reporting functionality in the system to send out reports. Okay, on an automated fashion, maybe daily or some sort of schedule. We actually use Sage Alerts to Workflow here at Oasis. It connects to a couple different of our systems, and daily, weekly sometimes. There's reports that hit my inbox of things that I need to look at and take action on. It's also a fairly easy to use tool, right? To go out and set information up and configure it to send those alerts to do some of that workflow options for you. Some of the things, why would we choose it? Again, I've talked about a few of these, but hey, manage errors and exceptions, automatic alerts, some of those things I mentioned, and Jim will dig into a few of those things here as he shows you all Sage Alerts and Workflow. but kind of monitoring information. But you can monitor inventory activity. If I have one of my, some of my biggest parts, if they drop below a safety stock level, maybe send an email to my purchasing person so they can go ahead and make adjustments to purchase more of those items. It does monitor all modules and data. And look, let's think of this not just in Sage 100. It will monitor everything in Sage 100, but you can connect this to other systems as well. So if you have another, a CRM system potentially, or some other operational system that it needs to connect to, again, we use it here and we connect it to a couple different of our systems internally. And maybe one of the best things with Sage Alerts and Workflow is there are right out of the box 85 pre-configured business conditions that you can set up for Sage 100. So what does that mean? It means that it's you can start using it pretty quickly. Okay. Now, I would almost guarantee that if you put it in, there's other things specific for your business that you're going to want to configure to use, but you have 85 kind of out of the box conditions that are ready to go. So you'll be able to start using Sage Alerts and Workflow pretty quickly. Okay. So with that, I'm going to take and I'm going to hand this over to you, Jim, to show a little bit on that.
Okay.
Thank
Thank you,
you all.
Jeff. I appreciate it. I hope everyone can hear me. And you're seeing the Sage Alerts and Workflow screen. So um, as Jeff explained, Sage Alerts Workflow. I keep wanting to say knowledge sync. I'm going to do my best to say the correct term. But anyway, it's a proactive task application. It reads data that you build in queries, and from there it takes action. If the conditions of the query are met, it'll take action. Or you can just plain schedule events like reports delivery and so forth. I'm currently my screen's being shared. I'm in Sage Alerts and Workflow. The workhorse of it is the event. And this is where you dictate, I read a query to see if I need to act on it. From here are my events. And in this case, I've developed 5 of them here that I'll use. But the first one will read, once a customer's account is beyond 30 days overdue, a certain invoice is, it will send an email warning to the salesperson, possibly to the customer or to the controller. From this, I can schedule it and have it run multiple times a day to check the status of the invoices. You can also run it now. And when I select it to run now, everyone in this list, in this training session, will possibly be getting an alert letting them know that this invoice is overdue. You create your list of subscribers, the people that will get it, these alerts, these warnings. You can hard code those as I did for this class, or you can actually read the data. If you want to send an order confirmation to a customer, a sales order's been created, you want them to automatically get a confirmation, it'll read the email on the sales order and send them a confirmation, either just a sentence to say, hey, we've received your order, or we can put the detail in the email message or as an attachment, letting them know that it's been received. Okay. Like Jeff said, we can do the status of accounts payable and accounts receivable warnings from that. We can look at inventory stock levels. We can look at customer credit. Have they exceeded their limit? Okay. We can look at salespersons. Have they just entered an overridden or an invoice below the company's policy on gross profit? It can send either an email, or with a Twilio subscription, you can send SMS, you can send text messages. The sales manager would get an immediate text message if a person entering the sales order overrode the price below the desired gross profit level. So I'm going to move over here to my email and show you. The other thing I want to show was late purchase orders before I move to my email. Once a purchase order is late, you're on a date, we should have gotten it yesterday, it's late. I've set up an alert for that, notifying the head of purchasing or possibly the person that created the PO. Send it to the vendor, asking where it's at automatically by reading the data. This is my email. So this is the invoice. I received this invoice. The information on the invoice comes from data that was collected from Sage. It's sending me an email, let me know that this customer's invoice 92581 for $5,800 is overdue and is now 30 days overdue. You could set it to be from the invoice date or the due date. In this case, it's now 31 days. It was sent yesterday. It's now 31 days overdue. If I go here, this is my purchase order report. Again, it read the purchasing. It looked at the promise date, the required date at a line level on the POs, and sent warnings letting me as the purchasing manager or the purchasing agent or even the vendor that these are now 1 day late. And in this case, this alert is set up, it would be received every day until the PO's received. So hopefully action is taken on it. I'm going to switch back over to Knowledge Sync. Also, these queries are developed, and this is your data feed. This is where you're creating your conditional expression. Do I do this? Do I need to send this email? Okay. I can also, in my events, designate specific times. I can send sales reports, monthly sales reports. I can send cash status each day to the owner of the company. The owner may never get into Sage. He's got to come bug you or have someone give him that information daily. They have got to go look it up and give it to him. If we set up this event each night at the end of the day, it would go directly to the cash status of the company, cash received in, cash out, went out, maybe open receivables and payables, what could be either an email or an email with attachment to ownership, to the CFO to know where the activity for the day and where the cash currently stands. Commission reports. We can send commission reports using the advanced email. We can get the emails from the salespeople tied to the invoices, do the calculations for the commissions, and send those out on a monthly basis. Okay. As Jeff said, customer trends. We can send the reports each week or each month looking at customers' purchases from your company. Have they gone up? Have they gone down? Has it been so many days? How do they compare to the last month? Are the purchases up or down? Either only notifying you if they're down or just sending you the information for all the customers to see what the trends are. Are they buying more? Are they buying less from you? Okay. When we send those reports, they come as attachments. The attachments can be PDFs, they can be Word documents. In this case, my purchase action report looks at my stock levels, looks at the demand, looks at open orders and expected POs. And if it foresees a shortage at the desired stock level or anything that would take the quantity to zero, it's going to send that alert and send this report. And this is my purchase action report. In the case of this, I used a PDF, but again, I could use a Word document. It could be an Excel file that you can quickly download from your email, open it, and massage the data and filter it. Okay. It can be a comma delimited file or tab delimited file. Perhaps you need to take this information into another system. Okay. Also, when we go back here, again, this is the workhorse, so this is the events, and it reads information from the queries. Okay. From these events, I can send attached reports as I did. Here's my purchase action report that I set. I could have that checked daily and looking for items that need to be ordered quickly, or I can have it sent every day, regardless of the position. I can also develop and send charts. So I go here back to my email, and here are my receivables. It's put in a chart. I put the data in here. So here's my customers from my demonstration data. These are their outstanding balances. I can send the graphs with it. I open the graph and can quickly see individual, the balances. So this ABF, they're into this quite a bit, okay? But then I got the smaller balances, okay? But I can quickly see it in a graph format, and the graph is built within Knowledge Sync, attached to the email alert, and sent to the customer or to you or to the controller, to the receivable manager on a daily basis, to the owner. I'm going to shift back to, we can also, in our events, our workhorses can send and update information in web APIs. Need to go through and execute a program through a predefined integration with a web, uh, with your website, with your commerce site. Maybe your inventory stock levels need to be updated every hour on your website. We can do that. It would run this event hourly, updating the balances on your website. You can also do basic scripts. Using my events, I schedule the scripts to go through each morning. I look for customers that have exceeded their credit limit. It'll query them, give me the list of those customers. From that list, I can then execute a script using the BOI availability in Sage. I can go through and automatically put customers on hold that have exceeded their credit limit or beyond a certain day, a certain period, or I can take them off. You've got a customer that's going to put them on hold. 2 days later, they get the invoice, they get caught up. That morning when it reads, when it executes the event, it'll execute this script, and any customer that is now in good standing that was prior put on hold will then be released. So again, the events drive it. We use the queries to read the information, and from there we can send an email. We can send a text using SMS with embedded information. If it's an email, we can attach reports and files. These reports, these charts, these programs actually execute programs depending on the information or the filter from the query, and as well as basic scripts. So I created these 5 events, okay, including a webcast, and I'll talk to you shortly about that. But I've created these. But as Jeff shared, Sage provides 85 events already created. They called event packs, excuse me. And these event packs, again, are provided by Sage. I imported them in for the accounts payable module alone. I go here, and here's 5 events that are provided. Invoices due in 3 days and 7 days, due today, invoices on hold, vendor balances over $999. These are you get with your purchase from Sage out of the box. Accounts receivable. I go to my events, balances over $10,000 and $120 days. This is your urgent balances plus orders. So I may have a balance, but I have orders over the credit limit. You don't want to put them on credit hold because you haven't they haven't exceeded their balance, but it's a warning to let you know that they're heading that way, and then you need to communicate with the customer. Near balance with the credit, nearing the credit limit. Customer is inactive. This is the trend. Have they been inactive for 60 days? We could create one that compares this month to the previous month. Where they stand? Are they buying more or less? Then finally, the number of invoices for the month, checking the activity on the customer, the number of transactions. We can go to bill of materials. Oops. In events, we get 5 bill of materials. Inventory. Duplicate items. Cost increases on items. MSRP changes. Quantity is less than or equal to the reorder points. And that's kind of the purchase action report that I demonstrated and I developed. It's an attached report. This is quantity surplus, no activity. Warnings on parts that haven't been sold in the last 30 days. Maybe you need to run a sale to reduce those. Okay. Purchase orders, they have their events, 5 here, and then sales orders as well. Okay. I downloaded and installed these packages, the primary ones, but if you on the Sage Alerts website, you can actually download trend analysis and so forth. But these are all predefined, pre-developed packages provided by Sage that are included in the addition of Sage Alerts and Workflows. Okay. Fine. I want to talk about a couple other things. Excuse me. I'm going to shrink these up. Okay. Next is the mail response system. Knowledge Sync can tie into your inbox, and when you get emails matching certain criterias, it will act from that. What does that mean? Your salesperson could send an email requesting status on a customer account. They're traveling, they don't have access to Sage. They want to know maybe there's a standard amount. They want to know their open balance, their last sales, and their sales for the month. They could send an email with a specified subject, like specified subject, send the email. Knowledge Sync will read that email and say, oh, this salesperson wants this information, and will respond to that email with an email giving them that information. Maybe they want a certain report. An email at a predefined logic to the subject can be sent, and it will respond to the email. So they're not calling you, asking you as the controller, as the accounts receivable person, or as another salesperson, information about the customer. They're going to send an email, and it can come back to them maybe as a text. Okay. Finally, I wanted to discuss dashboards. Dashboards, again, the events are the workhorse, but instead of sending an email, instead of sending a text message, instead of attaching or executing a file, the dashboards present a web page of information. We have customers that use this example in the logistics area. They have a big screen TV. The dashboard is like an Excel document, but refreshes every 3 minutes, 5 minutes. And as orders are shipped or as orders are added to be delivered in the next few days, they appear on the screen with the status, including have they been invoiced yet? Have they been shipped yet? And so forth. So it's a visual for the logistics team to know where they stand on their orders. We have a current customer doing that. You could also set up your stock levels, your inventories. The status are orders in shipping and so forth. But you can see that information on these screens, and they refresh every 3 to 5 minutes. And it's a nice visual. It's information that people get that don't need access to Sage. Okay, they don't need to log into Sage. They don't need to install on the computer. They just click on a web page and it'll give them that information. Okay. So again, this is a high level overview of the application. Does a lot of neat things. When I was in industry, I had 60 events that ran daily, weekly, monthly, sales reports, warnings on events that occurred. Just a really neat tool. We found very beneficial to the organization. So I'm just going to hand this back to Jeff. If you have any questions, please submit them and we will answer them as best we can and maybe discuss this with you and how it could benefit your organization.